Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to discuss some of the few differences between a manual serger and an electronic or computerized serger, also known as overlocker. So I'm going to show you this video first between a manual sewing machine and an electronic sewing machine. When operating a manual sewing machine, it's powered on by the mechanism inside. In this video here, the machine is powered by a motherboard that talks to the mechanisms of the machine that makes it sew. So those are the main differences. Now, if you're thinking about buying a serger, or if you're thinking about replacing a new one, and you're debating between a manual serger or a computerized serger, the number one main difference is the learning curve. I'm going to show you my combo machines because these are the really complicated ones. If you happen to have a combo machine, and if you have a manual combo machine, the learning curve is very steep, especially working with 5 threads, or if you want to switch to a cover stitch. Same goes with this. When operating a manual serger, you go back and reference the book or a tutorial on YouTube to thread the machine or learn the machine. So there's like some reading involved, studying involved. Go back to your mechanism and fidget around with your settings. Whereas if you're working with a computerized serger and you turn it on, and before you can sew, watch, I'm going to step on the acceleration. It's beeping, and the reason why, it wants you to set the stitch setting first, which is the basic 4 needle medium weight fabric. So I'm going to press the 1 button there, and it's going to start sewing. Now, some of these sophisticated computerized sergers they have sensors on the foot that you're using. Some of these computerized sergers, they have either a video or really nice graphics that will guide you through changing the thread, the needle, and the settings of the machine. So it's there for you, and it's shorter learning curve for sure. However, do you have to spend that much money to get that convenience? I say no, because some machines, like this machine, this Bernina, is a really well calibrated machine. It can go through thick, thin, back to a thick fabric, and you don't have to mess much with the tension. Now, this machine does not come with automatic tension dial adjust. This comes with it, and of course a computerized machine comes with it also. However, you still need to manually override these settings, and that's because sometimes these calibrations are not perfect, and each fabric behavior is somewhat different from a different type of fabric that you may have used in the past. So they all vary. All of them pretty much are friendly, happy, or defaulted to a medium weight cotton. Even if you do a 4 layers of this on an inseam intersection, it should be fine. If you're one of those sewers that uses the same fabric all the time, sews very occasionally, and does not venture out into different fabric types like sweat nets and fleece and all these other variations and fluctuations of different fabric, you should be fine. You don't need to buy an extra complicated machine just because it has a lot of bells and whistles. What about the differential feed? So most sewing machine that's computerized, that's built in with the calibration of the stitches. Whereas a manual serger, you have to do the manual adjustment of your length and sometimes width and the rolled hem settings here. This is one of those knobs here. I would stay away from complex machine. The least work the machine can do, the better it can do its job. If you get one of these complicated machines that's computerized, plus all kinds of stitches that comes with it, it can tend to have a higher learning curve, and that's because there's so many things to memorize, and all there is memorization. And the more you use your machine, the more you get familiar with it. Like this machine, differential feed is hidden, and these are the settings here. I have a few of this. That machine has no differential feed. This one has no differential feed, and this one too. It's not an important feature for me. I can finish without the differential feed, and that's because I can work around it. One very important thing about buying a computerized serger or a manual serger is, with the computerized serger, you need to be able to identify, name, distinguish the different names of fabric, because computerized machine need input on the type of fabric they're using. For example, medium cotton, heavyweight cotton, chiffon, tricot, fleece. The machine does not know what fabric you're using, so you need to tell it what fabric is it that you're using. Then it will accommodate the differential feed that it will suggest for you, the length, the stitch setting, and the other changes that you may need to do on the machine. So it's very important that you can tell the difference between one fabric from the other, and tell the computer, this is what I'm using a fleece. Then the automatic tension dial adjust will automatically adjust it for you. Now if you want to know, well, some machines have automatic tension dial but they're not computerized. That's, I would call, a sensor, which is kind of a built-in sensor on the machine, but some of those you still need to override on certain cases. So I just want to clarify that part before I wrap this up, because that's very important. Identify what fabric is it that you're sewing on. Would a computerized sewing machine pretty much do everything for you? The answer, it depends on the brand that you bought. The very expensive ones, they're very sophisticated. Not all computerized machines are the same. I would say the ones that have really good quality control, I would say the Juki and a Janome. They're really good machines. Would you still buy a computerized serger for convenience? The answer is you should, if you want convenience. But there's other problems that will arise also with this type of machines. For example, they are not very hardy machines. I wouldn't call them a worker either. And if you compare a warranty between a manual serger or sewing machine compared to a computerized serger or sewing machine, there is a difference in the warranty in the number of years, and that's because anything that comes with electronic functions will have a shorter lifespan. So it really is up to you which machine to go for. If you have a lot of patience, it also depends on your skill level or how often do you sew. I personally prefer manual sergers because it's just between me, my knowledge, and the machine. Complicated stitches like 5-needle stitch settings or conversions from cover lock to regular overlock functions, you will have an easier time transitioning because the computer will guide you through it as opposed to just digging the book. Huge difference with the convenience of figuring it out in the beginning. But over time, you will memorize all these things. I hope you learned a little bit about this video, and thank you so much for watching.